Keep your spine straight. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in. Hold it there. Oh. 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 Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Yo Antah Pravishya Mama Vachamimam Prasuptam Sanjeevayatyakila Shakti Dharasvadhamna अन्यांश्च हस्तश्रवण चरणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं. Pranams to the Lord, pranams to all the Mahatmas in tonight's satsang. First we'll just chant all the shlokas that we have done until today. Om Rupam Drishyam Lochanan Druk Tadrishyam Druktumanasam Drishyadi Vrittaya Sakshi Drigeva Natu Drishyate Nilapita Sthula Sukshma Hasva Dirghadi Bhedataha Nana Vidhani Rupani Pashyelochanamekadha Andhyamandyapatutveshu Netradharmeshu chaikadha Sankalpayen manashrotratvagadau yojyatamitam Kamasankalpa sandehau Shraddha shraddhe dhrititare Dhir dhir dhirityevamādin भासयत्ये कदाचितिः नोदेति नास्तमेतेषा न वृद्धि याति न क्षयम् स्वयं विभात्यथान्यानि भासयेत् साधनं विना चिच्छाया वेशतो बुद्धौ भानन्धीस्तु द्विधा स्थिता एकाहङ्कृतिरन्या स्यात् अंतःकरणरूपिणी छायाहङ्कारयोरैक्यं तप्तायः पिण्डवन्मतं तदहङ्कारतादात्म्यात् देहश्चेतनतामगात्. So we have seen till here. We are on a very beautiful stage, and today we are going to see some more depth and very, very crucial and important mantra today. But what have we been studying so far? So far, we are at the stage where the problem, what we have is my identification more with the body and associating myself with it rather than disengaging myself from the body and knowing my true nature. So my problem at the moment is I am finite and I am limited, but I am not realizing my infinite potential. So which is I over here? That we are discriminating. So in this, what we have seen is whatever I am saying is I. So I am always an experiencer is born out of it. And whatever I see is an object. So I perceive the world through my senses. And everything that I perceive is a scene and I consider myself as a seer. So in this, we saw 3 levels. The objects are perceived by the eyes. So at the level 1, the objects are the seen and the eye is the seer. But it's not actually the eye. The mind actually perceives it. So basically, the E-I-E, that eye, the eyes, they become the object, and the mind is the seer. So the eye is the seen and the seer is the, stay muted throughout, and the mind is the seer. So that is our seer number 2. But actually, who is witnessing the mind? The changes of the thought or the modifications of the thought. What is happening? So the mind is actually the seen and the original witness conscious is the final seer. Nobody sees that seer. That's the final seer. So if you have, okay, I'm perceiving, I'm seeing myself as Brahman, as the object. If somebody is claiming, that means definitely that person is not seeing what is to be seen, because the experiencer will never be the experienced. So this we have to always remember. If I'm seeing something other, that means there is a separation. So a seen and a seer cannot be the same. We cannot interchange them also. So these were the 3 levels we have seen. We can identify many colors. So seen will be many, but the seer will be one. So this was another factor. And always, see is a gross and seer is subtle. So when we are going through these 3 levels, when we reach the final witness conscious, the original seer, that's the most subtlest. And it cannot be seen. There won't be any identification also over there. As we were progressing, where we had stopped on the last thought, so, sorry, yeah, just make sure you are staying muted throughout. Okay, so we have, so our last thought when we had stopped the class, that the subject and the object differentiation, the experiencer and the experienced differentiation is there. The seer and the seen differentiation is there. But we have stopped on that drishtanta where that tadatmya, that means that identification, is so strong. And they gave the example of taptayaha pinda, the iron ball. The iron ball, which is so heavy and cold, when put into the fire, becomes hot and red, and the fire, which is shapeless and weightless, gets the shape and form and weight of the iron. So they both superimpose each other's quality on each other. So then you cannot differentiate which is the iron ball and which is the fire. The fire is having the shape and form. So you cannot differentiate that type. So that we saw as a tadatmya. So this is our thought flow, that the ego, the I, the ego. So ego, now in a Vedanta, we should forget the ego, that pride or something. So we are going to take the ingredient in the mind. And normally Antakarana we see as 4 parts. But in DrgDrishya Viveka, we have just been said as one part. One side is the ego and all other 3 components are on one side. So this particular surface, this ego, where the original consciousness is going to reflect, that is the starting point, where it just gets into so much tadatmya, then it reflects it out. So before we go ahead, I'll just share one image so that we are all on the same page to understand the sentiency aspect of it. Just give me a minute. Is this image clear? Hariyo?
Yes, Asha.
Okay. So what has happened? The witness consciousness, that's our pure Sakshi. But it gets it comes in contact with this mind. So there is that reflecting medium. So the reflected consciousness happens over there. And the first to own up on that surface is the ego. The other thing, the antakarana, is separated. The first is taken as ego, and the other three, according to the DrgDrishya Vivek, we are not differentiating as 4 components. It's one plus the rest. And from that ego, it goes to the sense organs and to the body. And from there, the things are perceived. So what we are going to understand over here, that in this sentiency chain, the reducing sentiency is seen. And when we are going to see the next verse, this will be very crucial, that at number 1, at number 3, and number 6, these would be mentioned. But other things are also included into it, we should remember. So that is the Sakshi, the Ahankara, and the Deha, the Sharira. So we will go into the verse now, and then we take it on from there. Okay, so Pushpaji, can you volunteer, please?
Yes.
We are starting with verse number 8 today. Ahankarasya tadatmyam.
Ahankarasya tadatmyam. Ahankarasya tadatmyam.
Chichhaya deha sakshibhihi.
Chichhaya deha sakshibhihi. Chichhaya deha sakshibhihi.
Sahajam karmajam bhranti janyam cha trividham kramat.
Sahajam karmajam bhranti janyan cha trividham kramat. Sahajam karmajam bhranti janyan cha trividham kramat. Sorry.
Go ahead for the full verse.
Ahankarasya tadatmyam chichhaya deha sakshibhihi sahajam karmajam bhranti janyan cha trividham kramat. Ahankarasya tadatmyam chichhaya deha sakshibhihi sahajam karmajam bhranti janyan cha trividham kramat.
Good. Ahankarasya tadatmyam chichhaya deha sakshibhihi sahajam karmajam bhranti janyan cha trividham kramat. Very crucial, very important verse. And from here only that discrimination, understanding, everything is going to get developed. So first we'll see the word by word meaning, we'll try to understand, and then we'll analyze. And the explanation is going to spill over the next verses also. So now, what is the identification? Ahankara is the identification. So ahankaras tadatmya, ahankarasya, that is our shashti, or the relationship vibhakti. So this ahankaras tadatmya, identification with what? Chichhaya. Chichhaya is reflected consciousness. Then what? Deha. Deha means body. And sakshi, that is original conscious. That bhihi is determining plural of tritiya vibhakti, which gives a instrumental case, by, with. So ahankara's identification with Chichhaya, Deha, and Sakshi. In the second line, Sahajam. Sahajam is natural. Karmajam means born out of karma. Bhranti Janyam, born out of ignorance. Cha, and Trividham kramat, three respectively kramat. So now what is kramat over here? So in the first line, we got sequence what? Chichaya, Deha, and Sakshi. In the second line, we are getting that kramat, the reason means Chichaya, the reflected consciousness. So the identification of the ego with the Chichaya, with the reflected consciousness is sahaja. It is natural. Identification of the ego with deha, with the body, is karmajam. That is because born out of karma. Identification of the ego with sakshi is bhranti janya. It's out of ignorance. So this is the word to word meaning of this mantra. Now we will see one by one. If we stand in front of a mirror, what we are expecting? We see our image. Whatever is going to come in front of the mirror, invariably, mirror is going to show that. There is no escape. So it is the nature of the mirror to reflect. Exactly same thing. It is the nature of this mind, in particular, to reflect. Now it's the night. Moonlight is there. We enjoy the moonlight. But now because we have studied a bit of science, we know moon is not having any light. Moon's light is a borrowed light from the sun. But moon is reflecting, right? We enjoy the moonlight. It can show us the light in the darkness. It can illuminate the object. So all the functional things are happening. But it's not the moonlight, but we call it as moonlight only. It's a reflected from the sun. It's not originally, the moon doesn't have its light on its own. But we say moonlight, we enjoy the moonlight, and it does the job of illuminating things. So this is natural, sahaja. So ego's identification, ahankara's identification with the chichaya is natural. Like how the iron gets the color red and becomes hot, which is normally a cold iron ball. And like how the fire, which is shapeless, gets the shape of the iron ball and it also becomes heavy. It's so very natural. Likewise, this anyonya adhyasa, the superimposition, the mutual superimposition has happened and the identification takes place. You cannot change that. So as long as the reflecting medium is there, reflected consciousness is going to be there. This is sahaj. You cannot change it. It is natural. How can you change the swabhava of the mirror? That you don't reflect this person, you reflect only my image. No, it cannot. If both of you are going to stand, both images are going to, it is the nature. So this is the nature. On the stone, why it is not happening? Medium is not there. So if we have, let's say, a bucket full of water, the sun is reflected into it and you get one mini sun also in that. Sun is so big. But we do see sun over there. Water's nature. But if the water is removed in an empty bucket, do we see that sun? Do we see that reflection? So if the medium is not there, the reflection won't be there. Because the medium is existing, this original consciousness is getting reflected because of the medium. And the first one to identify is this ahankara. He owns it up and he becomes very one. And that is the tadatmya. And this is very sahaj and this is very natural. Are we clear on this point? So this point, we cannot change this relationship. This tadatmya we cannot change. This is natural. Now we go to the second phase. I do certain actions. Why? Because I got some desires. If I don't fulfill those desires, I get agitated. If I fulfill those desires, then what happens? I get more different kinds of desires. So my actions are prompted by my desires. And that action is going to yield me a fruit. Some fruits are experienced immediately. Some fruits are going to take time. We eat some papaya and we put the seeds in the backyard. We'll see papaya sprouting up. Papaya tree sprouting up. So many papayas would easily come. Put one mango seed and see, it's going to take some long time for the mangoes to come. Just plant one banana tree and then you will got endless banana trees coming, saplings one after another from it. So in our lifetime, we will see so many papayas and so many banana trees. But for that mango tree, we'll have to wait till, all its completion. So each fruit has a different timing to manifest to ripe. Exactly same principle on our body and our actions. This current body we have got because of certain actions that we did in past, and we held certain desires that we needed to fulfill, and to complete those vasanas accordingly we have received this body. This body will exhaust when that karma kshaya will happen. And the cessation of those actions, this body is going to cease. Then when next karma phala is going to be ready, that fruit, accordingly another body will be getting. So ahankara's identification with the body is only out of karmaja. The body is because of karma. So it's so, it's a very crucial aspect, and to be so mindful and aware of our karma. Then our Gita comes into that picture, that how much of doership we put and how we should do the karma without identifying with it, for the sake of it, without doing I am the doer. So all our third chapter onwards, the whole thing starts. Karma yoga, karma sannyasa yoga. The whole teaching of Gita is just based on that. And Lord says to Arjuna, you just be nimitta matra. So you just be there. So do it in the name of the Lord. Not you are doing or you are killing it. The whole Gita is based on that. But for now, we will stick on to the Vedanta aspect of this, that this clear understanding has to happen, that the body is karmaja. That means born out of karma. Pankaja, we say for lotus. Panka is the soil, where it's all muddied soil. So from the panka, ja, born, pankaja, the lotus. So from the mushy land, that, so it's pankaja. So like that, karmaja, born out of karma, which is our second aspect. Deha is related to the karma. Okay. Now comes the relationship with the original consciousness. I don't know it. So it's completely bhranti janya. Ignorance, because of the ignorance, I am not knowing my own potential. Because of my ignorance, I do not know that I am infinite bliss. Because of my ignorance, I don't know my Satchit Ananda Swarupa. But I am that. And for us as a Vedantin, as a seeker, we definitely have to have this Shraddha on the scriptures, because the scripture is telling so. My eye is reporting all that I am seeing now. You all are intently listening. I am talking, your ears are receiving. So our sense organs are reporting the world, and we are believing in this. That now you all are listening. With my eyes, it's reporting to me. And my words, you all are listening, and your ears are reporting what is getting conveyed. And with your nods, with your expressions, I can perceive whether what I'm saying is taken in, understood, whether you all are present. From your expressions, I am seeing that. So the whole thing is perceived by the sense organs, and they are my reporters. But do sense organs report us dharma? Do sense organs report us anything about the infinite joy, infinite bliss, infinite nature? So that is the sixth pramana. Pramana, I is a pramana, it's a proof. It is you can't deny what you are listening, because you have that instrument. That karana is there. So Vedas, Vedanta is that pramana which tells us about the dharma. So if Vedas and Vedanta have said that you are infinite bliss, you are infinite bliss. How to go to there should be the question. Whether it is true or not is not the question, because that is the pramana. So if this Shraddha is there, then the journey can be commenced. So now, when the Shastra is saying it is Bhranti Janna, it is out of ignorance, that means I might have my double degrees, I might have the knowledge, but all my double degrees, all my PhDs, everything is only of the secular world. It is not giving me the knowledge of what Vedanta is saying. So here, Bhranti Janya, your ignorance is nothing to do with how much you know other things in the world. It is, have you broken this tadatmya? So if we have not broken, if still I am engrossed in this, then how should I break this tadatmya? So this is the knowledge what is expected. My ego's tadatmya with the reflected consciousness, with the body, with this Sakshi, which I'm saying that it's not unlimited, it's this limited me. So at the end of this, we are going to have a beautiful 6-course dinner like that. It's going to get into 6-course steps of how do I break this identification? How do I know things? What is the Shastra telling? So it's eventually going to come. So no need to turn pages and read it right away. Let's go slowly only, that it's eventually we are going to see how to break this tadatmya. Something which is sahaja, something which is karmaja, something which is bhranti janya. So definitely it means knowledge is the only key. There is no other way but with knowledge. Then how to receive that? So later on we will see the steps. So we have completed now with this particular mantra. We'll go for the next mantra and then come back if we have the queries. Shri Hariji, can you chant? Sambandhino sator nasti.
Sambandhino sator nasti.
Nivritti sahajasya tu.
Nivritti sahajasya tu. Nivritti sahajasya tu.
Karma kshayat prabodhacha.
Karma kshayat prabodhacha. Karma kshayat prabodhacha.
Nivartete kramadubhe.
Nivartete kramadubhe. Nivartete kramadubhe. Sambandhino sator nasti. Nivritti sahajasya tu. Karma kshayat prabodhacha. Nivartete kramadubhe. Sambandhino sator nasti. Nivritti sahajasya tu. Karma kshayat prabodhacha. Nivartete kramadubhe.
Sambandhino sator nasti. nivrutti sahajasya tu karma kshayat prabodhacha nivartete kramadubhe. So now it is saying the continuation of what we have learned in the previous verse. So both these verses go together. Sambandhinaha sataha. So sataha, the relationship between the reflected consciousness, sambandhinaha, the relationship, nasti nivrutti. You cannot break that from the relationship of identification of the ego and the reflected consciousness. Na nivrutti. Nivrutti nasti. And the reason they gave is because it is sahaja. It is natural. So how do you break a relationship which is a natural? So you cannot break that. So sambandhinaha sataha nasti nivrutti. And the reason is sahajasya tu, because it is sahaja. Then the second one which we saw was deha and karma. So deha identification, which is born out of karmaja, the previous verse. Over here, the answer is karma kshayat. So how we get rid of this kind of a delusion? The identification of the ego with the body, it's going to go only with karma kshaya. Okay, this is one. And the third one is the sakshi is bhranti janya. So what is the solution to remove this identification? Prabodhat, when the knowledge happens. Prabodha, when you are enlightened, when you get the knowledge, when you see what you have to see, when you see the real truth, when you don't identify as something, all these objects, my and I, when you go beyond that. So prabodhat, when that knowledge which I'm learning now from the book, which I very clearly understand, okay, I am Brahman, I understand. Tattvamasi Guru says, I understand. I understand at what level? I understand as a intellectual level. Is it my experience? So prabodhat is my experience. So I have only information now. My information has not translated as my experience. Everything is still different and dual to me. This is mine, this is yours. There is no oneness yet. But I know everything is one. I can say that. I can say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam 10 times. But is it coming from the experience, or is it coming from information knowledge? So it's only information knowledge. I still feel pain if I have a suffering. If it's my family, my suffering is more. If it is somebody else's, it's fine. I don't even care, or I don't even have that, because I have that dual perception here. So I can know the theory well. I can understand seer and the seen discrimination. Okay, this is seer, this is seen. I can still know, but it is still at the book level. It is not becoming my experience. I can still talk about it. I can still hold a satsang about it. I can still understand and reproduce whatever has been said. But it is not getting as sahaja as it should be, that it's as natural. That state of complete bliss is not yet meant. So it's not prabodha. It's only bodha. So it's not a prakarshana, bodha has not happened. It's not me yet. So we are all Kuti Brahmans in making, as Gurudev would say. So the journey is on. So again, we'll have to wait till the end of this course, because towards the end only the steps are told, that how we eliminate that. And then it says, in the first one, it has said, Nasti Nivrutti, correct? So there is, you cannot disengage yourself from that reflected consciousness. And in the last word, if you notice, kramat ubhe. Ubhe means two. So what we can, in this mantra, what is saying that what is natural reflection that you cannot get rid of, but you can definitely get rid of this karmakshaya and this bhranti. So kramat ubhe is the solution. And the first line is telling us for what the solution is not there. So all our Swamijis who have realized this truth, they continue doing their work, right? They continue. So the after experience, things continue. The reflection continues. It doesn't stop reflecting and the body drops. You don't have to drop a body for the knowledge. The reflection is sahaja. The body drops only after the karmakshaya. So all the Mahatmas, they continue living. They will eat probably a pani puri with us. They will probably laugh with us. They will eat and sleep. They will walk. They will wear clothes like us. All action will look like us only. Nothing different is going to happen because the reflection is sahaja. So they continue to live as any other normal human being. By seeing them, we will not be able to, oh, this is a sakshatkari, he is this and this one is not. We cannot differentiate like that from the outer appearance. Sahaja, everything, there is no, what we can say, the nivrutti nasti. So that change we cannot make. So for those who are in that prabodha state, they are just like us in the external thing. Internally, it's a vast difference because they don't see us only different. They don't see us as anything flawed. I remember Swami Shukdeva ji saying so many times like this, if we are criticizing ourselves, koi baat nahi, aap Brahman ho, he will say, he'll remind us. And that will be so assuring that we will make any silly mistake also. He doesn't see us in that way. So this is very a crucial aspect when that word has come, kramadubhe. Only two things we can get over or we can change, but we cannot change the natural nature. Means the, oops, sorry. Why did this change? Sorry. Okay. Okay, it was only the distraction of one of the messages. Yeah. So coming back to this, what we can change is the purity of our actions, how not to get attached to the actions, how to stay in the path of jnana, and eventually follow what the scripture says, because that is only the pramana. My sense organs are not reporting this. Okay. Okay, so I think I'll take that question. Dharmiji has asked this question. It's a grace or it's a free will? Free will to choose and grace for us to know. Yes, it's a free will. Class is free. How many attend? 100 people will enroll. How many will attend? So class is announced. So it's people's choice whether they want or not. Then people choose to join. Okay, fine. All welcome. Then we put the class date, we give the link to join. And in the group, there are people who have expressed the idea to be in the class. How many come? Okay. Out of how many join, means see the numbers reducing. Of how many join. How many are seriously studying on their own? Okay. Then how many who study are reveling on it and practicing and translating it into life? And after doing all that, how many would realize? So like that, Krishna has said that very few out of so many would eventually reach me. He says this in Gita. So Dhani ji, the answer to your question, free will is there to follow the path. And it is Lord's grace that we are maintained on the path. And if we have that Shraddha, we will attribute it to Lord's grace. If we don't have that Shraddha, I am doing the class, I do this, there will be a sense of ego. And Lord has his own ways to kill that pride. Sometimes then you can't do the class. It is like when this class is interrupted, if I'm not able to join a class which I learn or which I take, I always feel, oh, there is some punya lacking, cannot interrupt a class. Or sometimes when Swamiji is talking, sometimes the mind goes very easily somewhere, and then you feel, oh my God. So that means our actions, our purity of what we eat, when we sleep, what we do, that integration of that personality, Dhaniji, the thought, what is expressed through the speech or through the action, it has to be synchronized. So only in an integrated personality, we can stay on path. So yes, it's a free will, and it is our actions that would determine, and our attitude that will determine whether we see the grace or not. Okay, so your question, I think, is answered, Dhaniji. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah, you have something more to say, Dhaniji? Yes, please ask.
I just said thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Varsha ji, I have a question.
Yes.
This association, ego can directly associate only with reflected consciousness.
Mm.
So calling it the association of ego with the actual Sakshi, ignorance, is just a way of expressing the fact that we are not aware of the Sakshi, right?
Correct. Yes.
As such, there is no direct relationship between this body, mind, ego complex with Sakshi. Would it be correct to say that?
Correct. Sakshi is expressing through this body. That's all it is. But is it not beyond the body? I say Varsha is here up till this conscious, till the tip of this nail. Beyond this tip of the nail, it's not Varsha.
Right.
My identification is only limited in this body, right? My identification. But is Sakshi only that much?
It is everywhere all the time.
It is beyond. It is
Right
beyond
now,
the
yeah.
body. But I don't see that way, right? Between you and me in this space, over the screen, what is there? There you end and I start from here, and between there is nothing. He is omnipresent.
Right.
So my identification comes only with my body. After this tip of nail, I'm not there. So I've limited myself.
So the word
okay. It's ignorance.
So ignorance is really used to draw our attention to that fact. As such, there is no relationship, direct relationship. And
ignorance is of not knowing my true nature. Ignorance, I am thinking I am this body. This is ignorance. I am not this body. This is phone. Am I the phone? I say this is my phone. This is book. I say this is my book. This is hand. I say this is my hand. So I'm not the phone. I'm not the book. I'm not the hand. So till here it is fine. But I am not the body. The part of the body, I am saying I'm not the hand. Then what are you? See the identification, that tadatmya, the tapta, ayaha, pinda. The iron and the fire are so one, there is no separation. So I'm always feeling I am this this limited me. So my happiness and sorrow and joy is limited on this body. My pain, my things are limited on this body. Somebody's pain is not my pain. Somebody's happiness is definitely not my happiness. I'll get so jealous, right? We have this kind of things. We carry innumerable. And so if that someone is specifically a family member, relative, then definitely no. A friend can be acceptable probably, but not. We have got so many divisions and compartments that we have made. And if two people in the office and one is getting a promotion and both have joined at the same time and both are equally working hard, what kind of jealousy is? What kind? So our identification is it's me in this body. So all the promotion, good things, happiness, everything should happen on this body, at emotional level or spiritual level, at the physical level. But it should have been basically oneness. I'm not experiencing that oneness. So that is coming out of my ahankara. Ahankara is I, this body. This is called ahankara. This is the ego. Ego is identification. I is born when the knower is born. The I know. This is of the self or this is of the ego? Where it is? I know.
I know is ego, right?
I know is ego. I know is at the thought level. I know is not belonging at the Sakshi level. I know this is a phone. So the phone shape has formed in my thought and okay, I see a pot. This is a pot. The Ghatakara Vritti. So these are very fast happening in nanoseconds. So many thoughts can come and go because those many impressions the mind is carrying. So all the knowledge is taking place in the mind. So we need this instrument for that also, to illumine what is there and to also illumine what is not there. And here, Mandukya Upanishad has, or even Kaivalya Upanishad, which we did before this, it explains in the sleep state, right? What happens? When none of my karanas are available, the instruments are available, and I am in that deep sleep, I don't know which way and which direction my body is lying. I have no clue also. Complete cessation. And then I get up and I say, oh wow, I had a good sleep. But you didn't know you were sleeping. Who was that one who was knowing that you were sleeping? That Sakshi witness was present. I, the ego, was not present. I, the ego, is half present. That's actually coming in the next verse, which we'll see in the next week, I think. Let me not break that suspense, because the explanation is spilling also in the next verse. Mm-hmm. So yes, we are still identifying I as I, the body, I, my mind, I, my emotion, I as me. And we are not.
A realized person can tell that this is, I guess, this concept of consciousness and reflected consciousness. That's what I find very...
The moment a realized person says, I am realized, he is not realized, is a proof. I, the knower, will not, I, the knower, the experiencer or anything, you're objectifying. I know this when you say this is an objectified. The realized master doesn't speak all that. It's only for his, he revels in that. He doesn't announce it. He cannot announce it. He cannot talk about it. Not cannot means by rule or law. He cannot verbalize his. It just can't flow. It is anirvachaniya. Something that which you cannot speak about that experience. Yes, I hope I have answered your question, Kusumji.
Yeah, it is a little tricky because the mind is always in the way, right? In all your sadhana, the Sakshi is very elusive, right? It's very hard to tell where the mind stops and if there is something behind that.
Yeah. Sajeev ji has written a question. How does this realization come to someone who has not read the scriptures? We have seen that it does. Yes, he has studied it before. It is not of this lifetime. The journey continues. We have this coming in Gita. Shuchi matam gehe. When if we have done certain actions and we get a conducive environment, is knowing our true self. So yes, there are so many instances where many Mahatmas have not gone to even a proper schooling of a Vedic schooling to go step by step. And it happens because they have carried that with them of the past. They have done their homework in God alone knows which life. And we can take our own Shankaracharya ji. So at 8 years, he knew everything. At 16, he's completed. At 32, he's gone also by writing. I don't know how much exhaustive work he has done. So yes, it does happen. But we have to also see Rama, Krishna, they came as avatars in their respective yugas, but they have taken Guru. So it happens through a Guru, a formal. So they have shown the world the path that, okay, Ramana Maharshi has just sat over there and he has got the knowledge. Or Ramakrishna Paramahamsji, yes, just by seeing the Kali and he's got what has happened. They have done whatever their homework has to be done in whatever lifespan. And then it is the grace that descends at that particular time. And even if they don't belong into that atmosphere, they'll be drawn to a such atmosphere where it would be expressed. So yeah, hopefully for us in this lifetime, we use this opportunity with so many Mahatmas blessing us. And probably when they bless our scriptures and they means our studies, some small change should happen in us eventually. Okay, any more questions?
I have a question.
See?
Yes. See, if a person realized, I mean, like he is an enlightened person, he has to continue in the body until his karma has to kshaya, right? So he might not completed his karma in that birth. So he has to go through with another. He has to go through with another also, but rebirth.
Can be. It would be all the combinations. So when it comes to a karma theory, it is something which we cannot fathom. So if once the realization has happened, he is going to drop the body only after his karma kshaya. So why then the next birth would come?
Yeah. So if it is like 100 years or 100+ years, he will be in the body, right? In
Yes.
that manner.
Yeah. The body drops only after the realization.
But in the case of Ramana Maharshi, he has realized, right? So much earlier. I mean, like before he drops his body, right? He has realized much earlier, but he has gone through that through cancer, something that has happened to him, right? So why this?
So it will again out of karma only. So they don't see us they are suffering. They see us the body is having the suffering. It's the nature of the body to get the suffering. We feel something big about our COVID suffering or a cancer suffering. For them, it is nothing. They are reveling in the joy. Body is having the body's thing. So what a Mahatma thinks, that would be a very difficult question for me to answer. But I'll again be speaking out of only a theoretical aspect, isn't it, my dear? Dharmiji has written a question, what is the nature of the mind? It is actually, we can say the nature of the mind is like a mirror. It is a reflecting medium wherein the consciousness can reflect. And then in our Gita, we get what all we eat and how we eat makes that nature. So everybody has the sattva rajatama aspect into it. But to what level is how one pursues his lifestyle. And always a sattvic mind will have a better reflection, a rajasic a lesser, and a tamasic more lesser. So it goes at that level. Dharmiji, I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we end this session, and we meet next week with that sleep aspect and the dream aspect, how we are getting ahead, what do we know, how do we know, and how we don't know. So this thought chain is going to get continued. But for this week, chew on the thought of this tadatmya at 3 levels. And at the 3 levels, how to break from that is the solution in verse 8 and 9. But don't read ahead. Whatever is being said so far, first 9 verses, revise well and come. Think only and do manana only of the 9 verses. Those who have got capacity to memorize, please memorize. And get that clear-cut distinction between what the mantra is communicating. So it will come only if you reflect again and again. Reading is to collect the information. Reflection is your own thought process. That doesn't come with reading. That is your analysis. So you need to do that, Manana. With this, let's end tonight's session. Keep your spine straight. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in. Hold it there. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Hari Om, everyone. Have a lovely week ahead. See you all next Monday.
Thank you. Excellent session. Grateful.
Thank you, Varshaji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hari Om, Varshaji. Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om Varshaji, thank you.
Hari Om.
Amma.
Thank you.
Hari Om Varshaji. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Can I ask you one question? Yeah, actually, a few people might tell like this, probably whether it is true or not, I don't know. But once they got realization, if they don't know how to like control the soul in their own body, the soul will leave the body. Is it true?
Not
No?
at all.
Yeah, that's what this is my question. So I have heard it somewhere. So that is what. Okay.
What
So
is
once
realization? Realization is your oneness, your true nature. So all this is not true.
okay. So then how he has, I mean, like Swami Vivekananda, how he drops his body, in which manner, like is he illness or something body has?
I'll get back to you on that aspect.
Okay, because he also left the body within a short span of time, right? 38, I
Yes.
think so. Might be, probably, I think so. Yes, sir. Okay.
Regarding Mahatmas, we think with our limited minds. We should not think it with our limited minds.
Correct. But due to curiosity, I am asking, so that is what.
Mysticism is not Vedanta. Vedanta is very clear cut, so no mysticism over there.
Okay, right.
See you. Hari Om.
Hari Om Varshaji, thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.